Good morning, grinders. Welcome to RotoGrinders Today. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. BlenderHD. BlenderHD. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Tuesday, July 30th. We'll be taking a look at the 11-game MLB DFS slate tonight on DraftKings. So hit that thumbs up button on your way in the door. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Hit the notification bell to know when we go live. Join with me, the purveyor, the awesome preventer, I don't know what Alex does. I know the Blitz show. It's the proprietor. It's a lot of P's, but you're behind the Bat X projection system and the Blitz for NFL. That should be coming out. That should be you should be getting people in for that pretty damn soon for NFL. But yeah, you're the guy that I use all my projections with, and I try to get up before you so that all the betting lines don't move. So there you go. That's the quickest thing. The thing that should be like $5,000 that you charge way too little for. That makes me all the money. So thank you very much, Derek Carty. I know we're late, so let's talk a little bit baseball. Is that good?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. 11 games. We got some pitching. We got a mixed bag at pitching. Let me first bring up. We're running behind, so I just want to. We're going to treat all the games like they're playing, I guess. We got some issues maybe in St. Louis. Okay, I guess check crunch time later today, just to be sure. But we're going to treat every game. There's no like games that are like obviously probably not going to play or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, Toronto, Baltimore, I think looks like the most likely issue, but probably fine.
But probably fine. Okay. We got a guy back from injury, long time away. Good first start, facing Oakland. Cheese, who writes the $1 Million Musings. Yeah, he has a rule. He's had a long time rule, right? That when this guy is chalky, you don't play him. And when he's not chalky, you play him. Robbie Ray versus Oakland at 8,200 is the highest raw point projected pitcher in the bat. He's not the most expensive pitcher because we got Hunter Brown at 9K, Tyler Glasnow at 10K. Do we really want to play a 45% owned Robbie Ray today, Carty?
I mean, it's a tough call because Oakland is obviously Oakland. Robbie Ray's cheaper than these other guys. He projects better, but it is high ownership to have to swallow. I think there's certainly ways you can play him in plus EV lineups, but you're going to have to obviously find ways to be different around him. Brown and Glasnow are both good, but pitching does really thin out after that. And so if you're not playing Robbie Ray, you kind of need to decide, okay, well, who am I playing? And I think aside from Brown or Glasnow, you're kind of just throwing darts.
But those would be the top. Those would be the top three pitchers, right? Glasnow at 10K, Brown at 9K against Pittsburgh, Robbie Ray. Depending on the stacks, a lot of the stacks that you may be targeting today aren't like you're going to be able to find like at least one like really cheap guy for your 5-man stack on even the best teams. Maybe you may have issues with a couple of teams. So I'm not necessarily sure if like you can't just play two of these guys and still make decent lineups. But you also have like Max Scherzer at 8,500, Sean Manaea at 7,900. They project decently, and then after that, it feels like there's Griffin Canning 6,700. You could go for that, and then there's like a whole bunch of people. Like it's like, can you play David Festa at 6K, Ryan Nelson at 6,300, Joe Ross at 6,800? Like there's a lot of guys that project for like 12, 13 in the bat. You can see here. But like Ray, Brown, and Glasnow are the ones that are like, 18, 19, 20 type of points. mean projected points. Is there anyone on the board outside of those three that you would I don't want to say take a stand, because I know you're like me. We don't take stands or anything like that. But from a ceiling perspective, while the mean, it's like one of those things where like yesterday, like Woods Richardson, right? Like someone in chat wanted to play Simeon Woods Richardson. I'm just like, yeah, the median, the mean may be like okay, but like he just never scores 30 points. So it's like, if I'm going to take a chance on a guy like a lowish median, like that's why I looked at like Scherzer at 8,500. It's like, I think you're better off with Ray, Brown, or Glasnow. But like, here's a guy at least with a history that he could show up and strike out 8 and 9 guys in 5 innings. Or like Lance Lynn at 7,800. But like, if you're telling me like, I'm going to take a shot with Ryan Nelson, like just Ryan Nelson doesn't show up with 10 strikeouts ever, right? Justin Steele doesn't project all that well today, but it's like, okay, Luis Castillo doesn't project all that well today. But like, these are guys that have double-digit strikeouts in their arsenal, while some of these other guys really don't.
Yeah, I would say most of these guys really don't. The guys where that's in their range of outcomes somewhere is probably like Steele and Castillo, even though their matchups are terrible and they're expensive. I'd say maybe Mania, maybe Festa. That's probably it. I don't even think I'd put Scherzer in that class anymore. Like, he's not the same guy.
Scherzer's a bum now. That's what you
I'm not going to say he's a bum, but he's not the same pitcher he was.
Right, but I mean, even we look at the strikeout props. I mean, the strikeout props aren't like nuts, right? Obviously, Hunter Brown 6.5, Robbie Ray 6.5, with whatever juice. Glasnow at 5.5. But we still got some 5. And Canning, and Scherzer's there. How about Michael Wacha? Right, Michael Wacha at 8,700. Against the Whites, it's a team against the White. It's a guy against the White Sox. This is the day and age, Carty. If you told me it like even 2 years ago, let alone maybe even last year, but 2 years ago, if you told me 2 years ago that Michael Wacha was 8,700 and Max Scherzer was 8,500, I'm like, maybe I'm playing Michael Wacha today. That would be very, very, very surprising. But isn't any team against the White Sox in play?
Oh, certainly. I mean, I don't know if Michael Wacha has like the raw stuff where you're going to say that he has 10 plus strikeout upside, but certainly the matchup is good. He could get there just because it's the White Sox.
Look,
it's kind of
against
like
the White Sox, he had 7 Ks. Against Tampa Bay, 8 Ks. 7 against Tampa Bay. 7 against Seattle. 6 against the Angels. I mean, 8 against the White Sox. Another White Sox one. I mean, obviously, if he struck out 7 or 8 against the White Sox before, it has to happen again, right?
Of course. I mean, that's the way it works.
That's the part of your modeling, right? Like, if it happened before, it has to happen again.
100%.
Right, but still 8 strikeouts, 8,700. I mean, for the level of the slate, I mean, how many people are playing Michael Wacha today?
Probably not too many.
So is there any pitchers other than Ray, Glasnow, and Brown? And I would assume, based on I'm looking at the bat projections, you would rank them Ray, Brown, Glasnow in that order, because Glasnow's the most expensive at 10K. Is it just that a lot of these pitchers that have a decent enough projection, it's not that like the projection is bad, it's just that compared to the prices on the slate, they're just like, if I told you Michael Wacha was 7K today, you'd be much more interested in an 8,700. So it's more of a Justin Steele's a fine pitcher, but you shouldn't be paying 600 more than Robbie Ray and 200 less than Hunter Brown. Like, on this, the schematics of this slate, he should be like a $7,200 pitcher, and he's not.
Exactly. Yeah. These guys project fine. I think it is, a lot of it is just kind of like the prices aren't really what you want them to be for who they are and their matchup.
Right. So the cheapest combination you should be making today: Robbie Ray 8,200, Griffin Canning 6,700, and then you make a lineup with the Rockies and the A's. And when Ray gives up 4 home runs and Canning gives up 5 home runs, you just win the slate. Because I mean, Carty, to be fair, when Robbie Ray and Griffin Canning are not on, typically they're giving up a ton of home runs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they are.
So anything on pitching as we speed by on the day that we're late?
I kind of think that's the lay of the land right there.
But Carty, you wouldn't see, looking at all these projections, you wouldn't find it like there's like Ray, Brown, Glasnow at the top. But then there's just like a mess of people where like you're not crazy. Like it's the time, like if you play large field contests, like I'd say like you X out like Cannon, Falter, Martinez, Corbin, probably Paxton also, right? But like if you have Bryce Elder in a lineup, like if you would have wanted to make a lineup, and even if you're playing one lineup, and you're like, well, I'm playing Bryce Elder instead of Griffin Canning or something, you'd be like, okay. Like you're not like, it doesn't seem like you're giving up that many points. Like you probably should play one of Ray, Brown, or Glasnow. But if you're like, well, I'm playing Matt Waldron today at 8K. It's like not the best usage of money, but it's not like they project like badly. And of course they could have a great game and another guy could fail. So it feels like outside of the ones that we mentioned, like you're not nuts for playing. Like if you wanted to play Joe Ross today at 6,800, like you're not. Like I'm not doing it, but you're not nuts.
No, you're not. I mean, they're all fairly interchangeable. So, I kind of said at the beginning, you're just kind of throwing darts, and there's like, probably 10 or 12 of these guys that they're fine to play. You're not excited about any of them, but they're all fine.
Someone would say, Carty, about pitching that you could play whoever you want.
Some might say that.
Some. I remember hearing that by someone used
I've
to
heard
say
that somewhere. Can't quite place where.
Right, me neither. Okay, so pitching, play whoever you want. Okay, let's get to the tiers for the stacks, and I think the stacks wise, we're gonna start. we're gonna start saying the same thing, right? I think there's some clear top stacks and clear bottom stacks. But there's a whole mess in the middle that are like in the level of you're not crazy for playing them, but I'm probably not, right? Like if I'm playing 3 lineups. Okay. So let's start, Carty. We're gonna put this top tier, because I'm looking at the bat stacks page, which obviously you could get if you're a RotoGrinders premium member that buys the little add-on that's way, way too cheap, right? To get the bat projections. Can you explain to me the Ponzi scheme known as the Chicago Cubs offense?
I would love it if I could explain the Chicago Cubs offense, but I mean, they project as the best again today. They're reasonably priced. They're in an elite park. They're facing one of the worst pitchers on the slate. Like theoretically, the Cubs are an A tier stack today.
And the Diamondbacks the Diamondbacks actually scored a bunch of runs yesterday. No, just that I played the Cubs yesterday. I played the Cubs like last week when they project well at low ownership and Ponzi scheme. Like it's like you X out the Blue Jays, right? You never play the Blue Jays anymore, right? Yeah, I've given too much money for the Blue Jays lineups. The Cubs are the new team like that. Would you consider see the Diamondbacks on the other hand? All I have to do is for the A tier for the Diamondbacks. Here's my case. I'm practicing for getting nice dressed up, my lawyer suit and everything. Go to court. 12 jurors are like, what stack should I play today on Tuesday, July 30th? Right? And I'd say, Your Honor, right? The ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it's like, I'm going to make the case for playing the Arizona Diamondbacks. And my first witness, let into the door, just like the People's Court, right? The do 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 do, and it's Patrick Corbin that is walking down. Like this is the guy they're facing. It's Patrick Corbin. Is that all we have to ever have to say? Is that any team facing Patrick Corbin always has a ceiling?
It really is that simple. It is. It's Patrick Corbin.
Can we also say the same? I know he's on the Mariners now. James, no, he's not on the Mariners. He's facing the Mariners now. Well, it's a revenge spot, I guess. We kind of can't say the same for James Paxton. I mean, if I went back 5 years and said that we're stacking against James Paxton, you'd be like, "What are you, stupid?" But now I don't mind as much. The Mariners strike out a ton, and I don't think people are used to playing them. Are the Mariners also an A-tier team today?
I would say they are, especially because I think they'll probably for the reasons you said, like people are used to kind of streaming, playing pitchers against the Mariners. So they're not going to be as owned, I think, as the Cubs or the Diamondbacks, but their ceiling's every bit as high. Their prices are good. Yeah, they're an A-tier for me.
Where would you put? How about now? We got two other teams in this like kind of tier: the Royals and the Red Sox. I mean, I know Luis Castillo isn't as great as he used to be, but it's kind of a little surprising to see the Red Sox project so well against him. I guess, I mean, obviously they're playing in Boston. It's going to be hot. The Royals are facing Jonathan Cannon, who obviously isn't good. So where would you put, like, the Red Sox aren't cheap. The Red Sox aren't cheap, and Luis Castillo isn't like, I don't think he's a gas can. But I mean, the Red Sox do have an implied. I mean, that game is like a 10+ implied run total combined, 5-5 on each side. Where would you put the Red Sox above the Royals, or the Royals above the? I mean, are they both? Is either of these an A tier? Or are they both B tier?
I think they're both B tier. Yeah, I don't think either is A tier compared to the three we have up there, but I think they're both good. The Royals, obviously, you feel more comfortable with, and they're not crazy expensive the way Boston kind of is. But Boston is going to come at lower ownership because people are going to be like, well, I don't need to target against Luis Castillo. We have Patrick Corbin on this slate. We have, so even though they're more expensive, you're probably going to get them at low ownership. I think they're both B tier for me.
Okay, now we have a bunch of teams right in the middle. A whole bunch of teams right in the middle. But let's take the first bucket. We got the Brewers against Elder, the Rangers against Lance Lynn. Yeah, let's take those two, because then we got, I don't want to throw 6 teams at you, Carty, but you got the Brewers against Elder and the Rangers against Lynn. Where are we putting them on the tiers list?
I think Brewers are like borderline BC. Probably C, unless you have a strong lean.
I mean, they're okay. I mean, they're okay. I would actually put the Rangers on this, definitely on the C tier due to price. I think the Brewers are. I mean, we're gonna go down through a list of these teams that are in like this tier. I'm not sure who's going to be more owned than I think a lot of these teams that we're going to be putting in like the B to D tier. One of these teams, a couple of these teams are going to be really low owned, and some may be slightly over. I mean, none of them are going to be mega like super owned, but it's going to be one of those types of things where like the Brewers, the Rangers, the Angels, the Astros, the Reds, the Braves, the Mets, the Rockies, the Twins, the Cardinals, the Dodgers, like all should be about the same ownership, like in equilibrium. But we both know that like maybe 2 of them like pick up steam and end up a little bit more, and then 2 just end up being like 1% owned for no reason. Yeah, and that's determines where the tiers are. Right. So I think that the Brewers and the Rangers will get more of that ownership. The Rangers are more expensive, And like, I'll put the Mets in the C tier also, just due to price, because the Mets are like the most expensive stack on the slate, and it's not like they project right in the middle against David Festa. So that's what I'm putting in C tier, and then I think the Angels are. I think the Angels are going to be the team in this group that's going to be over-owned due to price. For like, if you're using a lineup HQ, if you're using an optimizer, I think you can get a lot of like Angels 2-mans, 3-man, maybe not 5, but depending on the pitchers that you play, you'll get like a Royals Angels 5-2-1. So I think the Angels end up being over-owned. But the rest of these teams that I just all mentioned, like, good luck. I mean, figuring it's a very similar to the pitching thing. Is like they all kind of fall. Okay, so let's go one by one then. Okay, do you agree? At least agree with putting the Mets in the C tier, that they obviously have a ceiling, but they're just expensive, and you played them in a Robbie Ray Griffin Canning lineup, but not much else.
Yeah, I think that's the right assessment on them.
Okay, are we going to play the Astros against Bailey Falter?
I mean, you can. I mean, Bailey Falter's not good. He's not going to have a full leash coming back from injury.
They're the Astros, though. The Astros are a good team, right?
They're a good team, yeah. You have them on the same tier as KC and Boston?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think of there's going to be a C tier team that should be bumped up just due to ownership reasons.
Okay.
The question comes in, it's like the Astros against Falter, the Reds against Steele, the Braves against Joe Ross. Like, these are actually pretty decent teams. Maybe not the greatest of matchups, but like, I don't want to play the Reds against Steele, right? I think they go up there, right? I don't mind playing the Braves against Joe Ross.
Yeah.
But I mean, we just can't put everyone on the C tier in this. I mean,
no,
right? Like,
I can
one of these teams, right? One of these teams has to get like bumped up, right? We also have like the Rockies against Canning, right? So that's in the middle. The Twins against Minaya, right? At some point, like, we're just gonna run out of room for who's in the C tier. So I'm more likely to play teams that are actually good.
Yeah,
if they're all going to be similarly owned.
Yeah, Houston and Atlanta up on B, I think is okay.
Okay. Right, and then we got like the Rockies against Canning are not very good, but if Canning's going to end up with like 18-20% ownership, I don't mind bumping the Rockies up. Same thing for like a Minaya. Like Minaya, the Twins are a little expensive. Like the Twins and the Cardinals are a very similar spot. The Twins against Minaya, the Cardinals against Scherzer. Like, even though, Carty, you may not play Minaya or Scherzer, they're not going to be owned enough that you get leverage.
Right.
But are these stackable pitchers? Should I bump these guys down to the D tier?
I would probably put those two on the D tier just because we have so many. Wait, those two? No, sorry.
The Rockies and the Twins.
I thought you said Cardinals and Twins.
No, the Rockies and the Twins.
No, Rockies I think can be C tier, especially if we think Canning's.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you're right. No, I meant the Cardinals and the Twins. I just didn't have them on the board. So there you go.
Yeah, that I think looks right.
Okay. And the Reds are still in the C tier, even though they're facing Justin Steele.
I wouldn't argue if you wanted to bump them down. We're really splitting hairs between a lot of these teams, though.
Right. That's the whole point of the show. We have to split. We have to split tiers. Okay. Next little bucket. Very similar. A lot of these. The difference between the Brewers against Bryce Elder and the Nationals against Ryan Nelson is like the difference of like 3 mean projection points, and that's like 12 teams, right? So this bucket is the Dodgers against Waldron, the Giants against Sears, and the Nationals against Nelson. Where do you want to put the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Nationals?
So, like, I don't like the Dodgers today. I don't think the matchup's that good. They're not, like, cheap, but they're the Dodgers. I mean, they always have a ceiling. I think you probably put them on the C tier at least just because they're the Dodgers.
And the Giants you put on the D tier just because of the Giants. Is that a good assessment of that?
You could. I mean, the Giants at least though are cheap. They're not going to be that owned. I wouldn't argue with C tier. I wouldn't argue with D tier either though. Like they don't project that well, but they're not that much worse than, like the Brewers, the Rangers, the Astros, whatever. And they are considerably cheaper, I think, than some of them.
Would you say the same about the Nationals, or just?
I kind of
These
would.
are teams that I just read. Carty, these are just teams that I rarely choose to play. They're not like they're fit the category of you're not crazy for playing them, just that I won't.
Yeah, maybe they're more D tier, San Francisco and Washington, but I don't hate them. But they are San Francisco and Washington.
Right. It's an 11 game slate, so like if you're gonna get similar ownership, and it's gonna be like, do you want to play the Astros and the Braves, or the Giants and the Nationals? It's like, well, it's the same ownership. Why don't I'll play the Astros, right? I'll like that. I take a look at that type of stuff. On the bottom of the list, we got the White Sox against Waka, right? So let's take care. Do we want to play the White Sox against Waka? Do they make the D tier, or the White Sox are just an F tier team no matter what?
They're cheap and low owned. I think it's the same case as Washington and San Francisco, except you want to play the White Sox even less based on who they are as a team. so I don't know.
Right. Yeah, you're fine with it. Okay, and then we have the teams against the three highest owned pitchers.
Yep.
The Pirates against Hunter Brown. The Padres against Glasnow. And the A's against Robbie Ray. So let me put them all on the F tier for projection at this point. And then we have to decide whether or not they get bumped up because of leverage purposes. We got the Pirates, we got the A's, we got the Padres. Me personally, I would bump up the Pirates, but leave the A's and the Padres in the F tier. My rationale is that the Padres are the cheapest of these stacks. The A's and the Padres stacks are not cheap. They project the lowest on the entire slate, and you're not even getting a price discount on them. I'd just rather play the other teams then. The Pirates are at least cheaper, so I could bump them up due to leverage. And it's also not it's not a 6-game slate. This is an 11-game slate. So not only do Hunter Brown, Tyler Glasnow, and Robbie Ray have to fail, right? But the stack needs to also be the top stack of the whole slate. So it's like, oh, leverage against Robbie Ray is great. Okay, I'm all for that. But if like the A's put up like if they tag him for 5 earned runs, and then you have a total of 7 runs for the game. Like, dude, the Red Sox could put up 12 today, or like the Cubs could put up 10. I mean, like, it's not only the pitcher failing, the stack still needs to be the top stack. And on this large of a slate, I typically don't attack like the studs pitchers, other than especially when you have to pay the same. Like, dude, the Padres and A stacks are like the same. Like, dude, you could get the Red Sox for the prices, right? That you could. So, like, what am I doing? I'm gonna give up like 8 mean points for just nothing for leverage purposes, which is typically my style. But I don't know. I based on projection wise, I just don't see these 3 pitchers failing enough that the opponents are the top stacks, other than possibly the Pirates. But that's only due to just they're a bit cheaper than the Padres or A's.
Yeah, I think the Padres would definitely be out for me. I could see a case for the A's over the Pirates in the D tier. I think Ray maybe has a little more blow up risk than Brown does, but it's again, like you said, it's in what, an 11 game slate. Like your chances of them actually hitting are pretty low.
Okay, so let's recap. Okay, so we evened it out, right? We got Chicago Cubs, Diamondbacks, Mariners, top tier, right? If you're going to play a team, probably pick one of those three. Don't play the White Sox, the A's, the Padres. Maybe you mix in the Royals, the Red Sox, the Astros, the Braves. That's why, like, when I'm playing 3 lineups these days, right? That's what I typically, sometimes 1, sometimes 5, but typically around 3. I don't have to worry about like what my exposure is to the Nationals, the Cardinals, or anything. I just don't play these. I just don't play them, right? So even today, even in the C tier, it's like most of my lineups are going to be just A, B tier teams and pitchers, right? We got Brown, we got Ray, we got Glasnow. Maybe I mix in a Griffin Canning in there. Maybe I take a shot on the bum, right? Carty's bum, Max Scherzer. Hates him with the passion. Right? Not the same pitcher anymore. Right? Maybe take a shot on him. And that's about it. I don't have to worry about really much else, right? Makes it a lot easier. But we do these tiers. We talk about all these pitchers just so it's like, okay, no, these are good large field lineups. You're not crazy for playing them. I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay. So Carty, people can get the bat. Is there a special discounted price? Because I mean, there's only 2 months left of the baseball season. Football's coming up, so 2 months of the bat. Like people could use 2 months of the bat. I'm assuming you have some type of prorated price where it's only like $14,000 for the last 2 months of the season, right? As opposed to $30K for the whole season. I'm assuming it has to. I haven't checked recently what the price would be for the last 2 months of the bat, but am I close?
No, people can actually get it quite a bit cheaper than that because I keep it too cheap for whatever reason. There's no so the way they have it set up now is that this subscriptions are not seasonal, they're yearly. So like if you were to subscribe on July 30th today, you would get it until next July 30th, 2025. And you'd get and it would auto renew for you at the same price that it's at this year, even when the price probably goes up next year.
Okay, so you're telling me, Carty, I'm trying to be your salesman. You're telling me that you could get the Bat X projections from July 30th to next July 30th for only $30,000.
I think it's like 400 or 500.
Is that with a special promo code? I mean, that has to be a secret promo code, right? I mean,
you would think. I mean, based on what it's worth and how much people get out of it, you really would think. But no, that's just the price.
Oh, there's no promo code. There has to be like a secret page or something. They have to like a URL that only certain people know about that are watching the show right now to get it at that cheap, right? There has to be like there's a secret URL to that, right? There's a password. You have to knock on the door. Someone opens it up. You have to say, swordfish or whatever. And no, there's nothing. You just go to rotogrinders.com/the-bat.
That's all you have to do. Yep. Very simple.
Right. You're just giving this away, just like it's willy-nilly, just nothing.
Pretty much.
It's crazy. And how about the Blitz? Obviously, that's NFL. When is the Blitz going to be ready?
Basically ready now. I don't have week 1 up yet, but I have season-long projections ready. I have to see if sales are ready. I don't think they are yet, but very soon they will be, if not.
Right. But obviously the bat is for baseball every day. There's 162 games, right? Blitz, you're talking about 18, right? Obviously the showdowns, everything in the middle. So obviously obviously you're gonna have to charge cheaper for that. So like the Blitz is only like $5,000, right?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Right. I think it's less. I think it's considerably less than that. And there's no secret promo code or swordfish password or
Nope,
anything
it's
like
just
that.
stupid cheap for anyone who wants it.
Right. And Carty, it's not only for DFS. Like you could bet props with it.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, props in NFL have been great.
And the key to betting NFL props is very similar to betting MLB props. Get up Wednesday morning before Carty does. I mean, that's the way it is in baseball, right? Just
Yeah,
get up
get
before
in
Carty.
as early as you can before they move. That's
Right.
the secret.
Right. Because if you use the bet, you're almost always getting closing line value. And that's the number one sign in general that the signal that you should be having a positive ROI, right? But you want to get the best number and the best price. So you want to get the overnights, you want to get in the morning. And when it comes to NFL, you don't have to be as vigilant, but you know, I always make it a point to know exactly when the blitz projections are updated. Because once the blitz projections are updated, because the thing about NFL, Carty, is that like it's not something that you're essentially monitoring like day like if it's Saturday afternoon and no information has changed, like no, like this guy's out, this guy's like there's no reason, like I'm not even betting NFL props on Saturdays, let alone Sunday mornings, right? It's kind of like dude, if it's already like Thursday night, like I'm done. Like I'm like unless
I
some
will
new
say the
information.
exception to that, because I will bet some stuff Saturday, even Sunday morning, but you're not betting on like, Tyreek Hill or Patrick Mahomes. Like you're betting on like the role players that their markets weren't open on Tuesday. Like they just
Right.
opened them up on Saturday or Sunday. And so you're hitting them then.
Right. You're hitting over under 12.5 receiving yards for the second tight end.
Exactly.
Right. On a team, like that, those types of props. So get the blitz projections here at RotoGrinders. Sign up for RotoGrinders Premium. $40 off your first month. Hit that link in the description and get all the information for that. Sorry, I was late today, but I'll be back on the horse tomorrow. I think tomorrow we're having a Grinders Live. I have no idea. I'll be here in some regard, either on this show or with Dean on Grinders Live, because I'm usually here, right? Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern, talking about all things you're thinking about in daily fantasy, props, and pick'em on RotoGrinders Today.